Hey, so long weekends can be both a blessing and a curse. You end up with a short work week, but you have a nice long weekend you can spend time with family. Hey, it's Brandon Devnich here from i3D Themes with this week's interactive number 38, where we share what we're passionate about and what we've been working on here in the i3D Themes Design and Code Labs. So I understand it's Memorial Day coming up next Monday for our friends down in the United States, but in Canada, this last Monday was Victoria Day, where we celebrate Queen Victoria, who reigned the British Empire for most of the 1800s, and enabled our family to all band together this last weekend to move my father, who's downsizing his home and moving closer to us, which is quite nice. And during that move, I was digging through his closet and I saw this beautiful shirt. I got to show this to you. It's just fantastic. I don't even know if all the colors come through in this video, but I said to myself, this would be perfect for golfing, because every golfer needs to have something that is loud and proud that says, here I am. And I said to my dad, Dad, if you ever thought about, giving this shirt up and retiring it, I would give it a very safe and happy home. And he says, go ahead, take it. And I was very grateful because I got a chance to wear this out on the golf course a little bit later on in the week. But, so we get back to work on Tuesday, and normally Tuesday is a development day because we've done all of our sales and support for Monday that come in over the weekend and accumulate. And well, we weren't working Monday, so Tuesday it was. And wow, that was all of Tuesday. But Colin and I were able to sneak away for our couples therapy with Dr. Green, as we say, out on the golf course at the end of Tuesday, and had a fantastic time. It was really super windy, but again, I got to showcase off this shirt and play a nice round of golf with Colin. And as you probably understand, Colin is my business partner, and we've been in business for 15 years. I couldn't ask for a better business partner. When you're in business, you need to focus in on what it is that you are good at, and as we've heard, double down on that, and really, focus in and make that your thing. As a business person, also, there are a lot of other things you got to juggle as well to make sure that you're successful. And if you can't do all those other things, it often is very helpful to find a business partner that can do all those things that maybe you're not as good at. And that is what Colin is to me. He is the yin to my yang, or something like that. And for 15 years, we've been. He's my work wife, basically. So, and in fact, I spend more time with him than my family sometimes. But I couldn't ask for a better business partner. He does basically, he's got my back. He does all those fantastic things that he does that I'm just not all that good at. And on the flip side, I do all the things that I do that maybe he's not as strong at. And so, anyways, I've been very fortunate to be in business with this man for 15 years. I've known him for 25 years, but yeah. So anyways, that was Tuesday. We got a chance to get out, Colin and I. And then on Wednesday, I launched a client project that I've been working on for a very long time, simply because it was very complicated. It was a WordPress site that also had a custom e-commerce solution that I had developed for it 9 years ago. And so it was, it took a little bit longer than we thought it would, but it was finally launched. Oops. And then in doing the final launch checks, realized all those images that I had uploaded to the sliders and that sort of thing, they weren't optimized. And I'm like, I know that I optimized them. I have the files here. And it turned out we learned something, in that the WordPress system, which can automatically crop images on the fly, you probably have seen this before with some sliders, they automatically crop things down for you, and it's really quite slick and nice. Well, unfortunately, when you crop images down, it can take an otherwise optimized image and bloat it, make it very large in file size. And it may be an actual smaller dimension wise, but file size, it's much larger. So an image that could have been 100 kilobytes ends up being 600 or 700 kilobytes, and that obviously adds up when you have 5, 6, 7, 8 images in a homepage slider. And you really have to focus in on this, because speed is extremely important. The load time of your web page is extremely important. So that was Wednesday, once we finally got that all figured out, because it took me way longer than it should have to figure out, why are these images not optimized? I had to dig right down into it. And, it probably took troubleshooting, half an hour, and of course all the re-optimizing of images, and which will need to be done manually when there's these images that have been recropped by WordPress, and that can be a bit of a drag. And, optimizing a web page for making sure it's loading fast can be a bit of a drag, and that's why we're developing the WordPress plugin version of Accelerator, which is our highly popular website plugin that optimizes an entire website for page speed. Basically, it just optimizes your images, your HTML, it compresses it, it minifies CSS and JavaScript, and does a whole bunch of wonderful things that are pretty technical, that are way more than what we used to have to do to make web pages load fast for all sorts of a number of reasons. But basically, it's a plugin for optimizing for page speed. Now we're developing that out for WordPress, and I realized when I was doing this launch, and these images just were not optimizing, that if I just took even the incomplete version of the Accelerator WordPress plugin, I could drop it in, and automatically those images would just be optimized. It's a little trick that I keep up my sleeve up here. But yeah, so just due to a couple high priority projects that took precedence, it's actually bumped back the launch date for the Accelerator WordPress plugin. We're looking at probably into August now, but definitely by the end of summer. It's going to be fantastic. We're actually just finishing up what's called the CSS deferral mechanism. It's a mechanism that we had developed for the website plugin version of Accelerator. Well, it's now done, that particular feature, but we're just working on something that resolves what's called the FOUC, or the FOUT, depending upon the week and what I want to call it. But it's basically the flash of unstyled content or flash of unstyled text. You might have heard either or. But basically it's what happens is when you defer the CSS to the bottom of the page, your page doesn't have any styles applied to it because everything's been deferred until after the initial page HTML has been loaded. To get around this, you have to inject what's called the critical CSS into the top of the page. It's very technical to do, but we built a mechanism for Accelerator, and now we're just going to import that into the WordPress system, and then we'll have that feature done. In fact, we only have probably 2 or 3 features to complete, and then we're going to be going into testing, and like I said, probably in August we'll have that out and available for launch. In the design lab, Colin has actually had a lot of client projects that he's been working on. Again, this is one of those things that he does way better than I do, in managing all those projects and doing the graphic design and the custom tweaking. And so he's been working on a lot of very large projects, and it hasn't given him a lot of time to continue development on his cinematic, which we're calling cinematic website template. It's the new website template he's had in development for about a month or 2, which is employing cinemagraphs, which is basically a still image with just a certain part of it animated. In any case, he showed me another sort of view of the homepage, which is just about done. So he's thinking that he probably has a week left, to maybe a week and a half of doing that, and then he's got most of the content pages, the rest of the site already done. So we're looking at the next couple weeks we should have cinematic out to the catalog, so we're looking pretty awesome. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me and tuning in, seeing what's been keeping us busy here at i3D Themes this week. We hope you have had a fantastic week and that you have a great weekend. And to all of our friends in the United States, hope you have a fantastic long weekend as well with Memorial Day. And we will talk to you again next week. We, of course, because we're in Canada here, we actually will be in on Monday. So if you are working on your project or have any questions, give us a shout or drop us a line, send us a text. Or, of course, you can always comment or touch base with us on Facebook or any of the other social media channels. Anyways, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again next week.